Letter D, Gitlow versus New York, 1925. This is the big case that made it so that in that little word liberty, in the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, which we've seen means freedom from physical restraint, the Supreme Court, starting in 1925, more than 50 years after the 14th Amendment was passed, began to give it a new and different meaning to include some of the rights in the Bill of Rights, and beginning with freedom of the press. So let's look at what the Supreme Court says here in letter D. For present purposes, we may and do assume that freedom of speech and of the press, which are protected by the First Amendment from abridgment by Congress, so they are saying, the First Amendment says Congress shall make no law abridging freedom of the press. That puts a limit on Congress, but they're saying that those rights, freedom of speech and of the press, are among the fundamental personal rights and quote-unquote liberties protected by the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment from impairment by the states. So they're saying in that word liberty, which means freedom from physical restraint, they're going to give it a new and different meaning to include freedom of speech and press. Notice that they have to do something that's clearly not accurate or legitimate to do that, even in how they're explaining it. They use the word liberties in the plural, which does suggest choices, speech and press, but that's not. But you go back to the 14th Amendment, it's not in the plural. It doesn't say, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberties, or property. It says, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property. Liberty being in the singular, meaning freedom from physical restraint. Notice again, no evidence given here. They just begin, for present purposes, we may and do assume that this is so. They're totally sidestepping any need to demonstrate that this is true. I would suggest that's because there is no evidence to support what they're saying. I'll just repeat that. There is absolutely no evidence to support the idea that the word liberty in the Due Process Clause means anything other than freedom from physical restraint. It does not mean that. It never meant that to anybody who was working on the 14th Amendment. So this is an example of just taking power that doesn't belong to them by giving a new and different meaning to the word liberty, and I guess hoping nobody's going to pay attention and notice what they're doing, or maybe so many people will applaud it that they'll just let it slide. But again, just want to emphasize to you that what this does to our system, that it is going beyond what the 14th Amendment actually does. So and now anything that has to do with religion, speech, press, and any personal liberties, any right that's in the Bill of Rights is now under the authority of the Supreme Court. So this is taking away so many areas of jurisdiction from the state governments that properly belongs to the state governments. And again, you may applaud some of the particular decisions, and that's understandable that it comes out your way and you like it, but just again, try to step back, I would suggest, and think about it kind of objectively, and just bring into your calculations, is it good to decrease self-government so dramatically in the United States, decrease constitutionally limited government so dramatically in the United States, as you think about whether it's a good development for us.